The average American family spends 30% of their vacation budget on food alone. Today, we're gonna go from pantry to plate, but we're gonna do it vacation style, as I'm gonna show you how a little bit of time in the kitchen before you go can stack up to huge savings, all while keeping your workload in the kitchen in check while you travel. So let's get started. According to available averages, fast food meals now average $10 per person, and casual dining spots slide in at $20 each. With a family of 7, we are not going to drop $70 a day on fast food or $140 per meal on a casual dining restaurant. So when we head out, the first thing that we do is start days in advance trying to come up with ideas and things that will be super easy for us to eat, quick to put together in the kitchen once we get down there, and are easy to prep for us here at home. That's what we're going to do today. And my little guy was adamant that the first thing he wanted to be in charge of was the jerky. We go through quite a bit of jerky when we're doing hiking, adventuring, or out on a boat. So this is one that we wanted to make sure to add in since we're heading off to a lake destination just a couple hours away. Now, we made 3 pounds of beef jerky using the freezer beef that we purchased earlier in the year. Including packaging, the cost of the animal, and processing, that came in right at $6 a pound, meaning $18 was the total cost of this 3-pound set of jerky. Now, if I would have went over to Amazon and purchased 3 pounds of our favorite beef jerky, it would have cost $63 to get the same exact amount. So when you're looking at overall budget, you can really make some really big moves just by making some of these really, really simple things at your house in advance. Now, the next item that I'm prepping is an absolute staple when I'm looking for quick, easy, and nutritious meals. What I'm putting together here is the dough I need to make 4 different loaves of bread. Now, I'm not taking all 4 loaves of bread on the trip with us. My original plan was actually to only use 2, but I did double the recipe to put the extra in the freezer, and as you'll see along the way, I did change my plans just slightly. The awesome thing about making bread is that the total hands-on time is actually super minimal. So while the bread is going through its steps of rising and doubling in size, I am busy with other projects, as you'll see here momentarily. Don't hesitate to make your own bread products. It does, of course, take a few hours in the overall sense, but you're not actually involved with the product on a consistent basis. So your time is still free and you can still do other things, all while saving money and increasing the quality of what you're feeding your family. We decided to make a French toast casserole with one of the loaves so I could prep it in advance and have an easy, ready-to-go breakfast every single morning, because generally there's a lot of leftovers with that for us and it would last several days in a row. So that is one of the items that I'll be showing you here with the bread and the end. But then for the most part, we're actually going to be slicing it up for toast as well as sandwiches that we're having while we're gone. The next step in our vacation meal prep is to get everything going that can cook by itself in an Instapot. So the first thing I'm doing is putting about 18 eggs inside my large 8-quart, and I'm gonna cook these for 4 minutes of high pressure, then let them naturally release for 4 minutes, and then put them in an ice bath for 4 minutes. I found that works super well to get them completely cooked without any issues, and it's pretty easy overall. The other thing I'm going to add to the second Instapot is 3 pounds of ground beef. This will turn into taco meat, taco bowls, and I am taking some sourdough taco shells that I have pre-prepped in the freezer. This meal is actually something that we have quite often, but for some reason when I was sitting down and planning out the menu, I had one hole, which was the night we're going down. This ends up being the very first meal that we have once we get to our condo. And I was asking my kiddos, like, guys, I just need one more easy, really big hit with all the family. And my son looked at me and he's like, where's taco bowls? Like, why don't we have that on the list? And it kind of made me laugh because he's right. I mean, it's totally easy. And all I do is put that frozen meat in the Instapot for 18 minutes at high pressure. Then I drain off the grease and juice. I do add a cup of water to it when I start cooking just to make the Instapot work properly. But once that's done, I just chop it up and season it in the pan. And then it's really, really easy to prep and put away. Now, once the eggs are done, it's all hands on deck to get them peeled. My kids absolutely love helping in the kitchen, and peeling those eggs is one of the things that they can really take a hold of and get done for me while I'm off on other projects. While that is being accomplished, I threw some bacon in the oven. We're gonna turn some of that bread into a delicious BLT once we get down there because I have some amazing fresh tomatoes straight out of my garden right now. If you are curious about my garden and are not following my other channel, make sure to check me out. It's called The Hometown Homestead, and I take everything from the garden all the way to preservation, typically in the same video. So if you're interested in checking out what's growing outside, make sure to go over there, like that channel, and give it a watch too. I think you'll enjoy the content. It's similar, but outside related to gardening and food preservation. Once the bread was complete and cooled, I went ahead and bagged it up and set it aside for the evening. So I'm picking this back up the next day. I'm chopping this bread up into really large chunks, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw it in the oven and get it toasted. I know that's not something that you traditionally do with brand new bread, but I didn't have any day-old bread or anything similar setting aside. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a little crunch and toast it up for our French toast casserole. As you can see, this bread is fluffy and absolutely perfect. My kids were super happy to have it, and they were actually grabbing all of the pieces that they could find that were falling off the cutting board while I was recording this. So they were super happy to have some options to sweep some right off of the counter. My overall meal plan for our lunch and dinner meals that we're going to be having in our condo is to make sure that I have a lot of really good options for sides that we can use with a variety of meals. Now, I am making sure that they're things my kids love, so I'm not going to be putting things back out on the table that they aren't enjoying every single night. But one of their favorites that we usually just save for barbecues or special occasions is a homemade pasta salad recipe that I found many, many years ago that I swiped from a friend at a family cookout. This is something that you can customize to your liking, and yes, it does have some sugar in the ingredients. But it is an absolute treat for the crew. They really, really love it. Plus, it travels well. It's supposed to be a cold pasta salad, so there's really no reheat or anything that you need to do when it's time to serve. And those are the kind of dishes that I love to take with us when we're on the road. The other thing I really enjoy about it is that I can put together the dressing and all the extra ingredients in the time that it takes the pasta to cook, so it really comes together super fast. Now we're turning our attention back to this French toast casserole. I want to tell you, I messed up. What you're seeing here is not what you should do. But I didn't know that until the end because I've never traveled with this before. In my brain, initially, I was just going to pack all of the ingredients, and I decided, you know what? It would take way less time if I just made it all at home. I was right on that, but I was wrong to do it in this bowl. I could have just shoved the bread straight into a Ziploc bag that I wanted to travel with and cracked all of the ingredients straight in there as well. That would have made it way easier to pack up and less dishes to have in the end when we were ready to go. So for your information, don't do this. If you're traveling with it, go ahead and pack it up in the container that you're going to be traveling with, whether that's glass or something else. I clearly was not going to take this huge mixing bowl. And when I tried to do this to get it all packed in, it was a little bit of a pain. And unfortunately, my footage on that was lost. I'm in the middle of a huge camera issue. I hope you can't tell, but the camera that I usually use to record all of my content has been in the shop now for about a week and a half. So I'm actually using my cell phone to do all of this. And as a result, there were a couple times when I thought I had it recording and I didn't. So that's gone, the footage is gone, and the camera is in process. Hopefully I'll have it back soon. But for the most part, I just want to share with you that it's so much simpler when you pack it in the containers you're going in, which is why you're seeing me make this egg salad in the container we're traveling with, even though it was a little hard to stir once I got it all packed in. This is another one of those side dishes that my kids can't get enough of. And I know there's probably somebody out there saying my kids wouldn't eat that or that's not the thing. Well, my kids really love deviled eggs, and they're harder to travel with than if I just mix it all up in a container like this. So this is my deviled egg recipe made straight into an egg salad container. So everything is just blended up really evenly, and then I'm just gonna give a big scoop of it to the kids on their plate when we're enjoying a meal or if they need a snack. Now, I'm sure there is somebody out there thinking this is way too much work to go on vacation. It's supposed to be relaxing. I agree with you, but the work that I'm doing right here and right now will make the meals so quick and easy once we're gone that for me, it's worth the effort. I also have kids old enough to pack their own bags, and I even let my little one take pretty full control of what she has. For the most part, I do make sure they have the correct number of shirts and shorts. They have the items that they need for our trip, swim gears all packed and that kind of thing. But my focus is definitely not on their clothes. We will have access to a washer and dryer if we need to do a couple loads of laundry while we're down there. And I let their little minds go with their creativity and matchmaking of their outfits. Sometimes they look amazing and sometimes they look amazing in their minds, if you know what I mean. But as long as they're having fun and have all of the confidence that building their own style comes with, I am totally okay with that. My time is spent in the kitchen, where not only will it help us have more nutritional meals while we're gone, but it will save us an absolute ton of money every single time they need something to eat. Most typically, our plan is to eat out once a day when we're gone, but on this specific trip, I decided I had a few more meals at home that we really wanted to take. So we ate out one time for dinner, and we had one kind of mid-afternoon large snack at a restaurant. And I have footage of those to show you what they look like as well. But everything else, we had the meals that we planned, and I always plan a leftover day toward the end of the trip, because the last thing I want to do is pack all of this down there and then bring all of it back home. Once we had everything packed, we hit the road and ended up down by Branson, Missouri at a resort called Paradise Point. When we are making plans for a place to stay, one thing that I must have is a full kitchen with accessories ready to go and ready to cook. Now, this is a Blue Green resort, so we know what's going to be in the kitchens. They are the same across all of their different locations for the most part. So it gives us a really good idea of what we're walking into and what I need to pack. I did bring 2 cast iron skillets. I always bring a really good knife. I should have brought my tomato knife, which you'll see in a little bit. I ended up just using theirs, but I'm always happier when I bring my own stuff. I also typically pack a cutting board, and I didn't this time. I will do that in the future. I despise using plastic cutting boards. I know it's getting plastic remnants into our food, and I don't like those particles in what we're eating. So that is something that I will pack in the future. Once we get there, it's always time to get unloaded and everything in its new home for the week. And once I did that, I went ahead and threw in that taco meat. Now this comes together super fast because remember, we already browned the meat at home and seasoned it. So all I'm doing is chopping up my very first tomato of the year, which I was so happy to bring with us on this trip, and getting some lettuce out. I'll chop that up as well. We did stop at a local grocery store and grab a few items. I got some lettuce for the taco bowls because I did not think to grab any out of my garden, and some asparagus. We also grabbed a little bit of fruit. So we got some plums and some oranges, mandarins, and some bananas. I don't remember if we grabbed anything else, but for the most part, just a little snacking fruit. We should have gotten a little more. It lasted us about 2 to 3 days with how my crew goes through it, but I didn't want to overpack on that as well. I, again, want to go home with as few things as possible. So on the first day for the taco bowls, I'm chopping up just enough lettuce for what we're doing, and I'm saving the rest of the head for BLTs that we'll have tomorrow. Now, some of my crew will want a taco bowl, but there are a few of us that love these fresh sourdough tortillas that I make at home. I did not have to meal prep these yesterday because I put them in the freezer the last time I made some. I will say that is something that is on my list right now because we did run out. This was the last of what we had with us, and they are just amazing. So if you have never taken the time to make your own tortillas, or even if you don't think you're into sourdough, it's worth it to keep a starter in the back of your fridge and pull it out when you want to make tortillas, if nothing else. I will make sure to link the recipe that I use down in the comments for anybody that is interested, and the tools that I use to make them too. There's a really cool roller that helps, and it just really makes the time go faster. So the first night we got down there, it was delicious tacos ready. It took about 10 minutes to get everything prepped once we got down there. And then we headed out to enjoy the beautiful sunset before heading out to the pool for the evening. Now the next morning was lake time. We got a tube, a lily pad, and a boat. And as you can see here, we have some signs for what the kids are gonna do if they went off or that kind of thing. And my little sign taker there was giving some cues to Dad that weren't quite what they were being said on the back of the boat, but still fun nonetheless. Now, when we got off the water, of course, we're hungry. Everybody needed to shower up. So while they were jumping through the shower, I went ahead and got everything ready for our BLTs. This is our first BLT of the season. As I mentioned before, I try not to buy too many tomatoes off season. So this is something that we really try to do just in the summer, eating seasonally. It is just so much better when they're fresh and right out of the garden. Now, this place also had a toaster with 4 slices, but it also had a lockout on the other side that we got as part of our rental as well. So there was another toaster over there. We were actually able to do 6 slices of toast at a time, which makes putting together breakfast and lunch quite easy when we have access to do all of that bread in one swoop. Now, if you remember when we were home, we did go ahead and cook off the bacon. The reason is it takes a long time to cook off bacon when you're on vacation, and I didn't want to take the time to heat up the kitchen, spend my day cleaning that kitchen, or anything of the sort. So having it pre-cooked and ready to go means just a couple seconds in the microwave, the bacon was warm and ready to eat. We just threw these tomatoes on top of the bread and some of that lettuce that I saved from the night before. This goes together super fast, and everybody was cleaned up and through the shower just in time to eat before it was afternoon rest time or a little extra pool time with Dad for those that no longer enjoy an afternoon nap. To go along with this, I just pulled out the egg salad as well as the pasta salad, depending on who it was and what they wanted. It made a really delicious light summer meal. So if you have not done something similar lately, highly recommend. I will make sure to put the pasta salad recipe down below for anybody that might want to try it out. Now, one thing that we do every single time we go to Branson is we spend a day in town shopping. We grab the kids new shoes when they need them down at the outlets, and we also head down to Bass Pro on the Landing. Now, this is the Fish House, which is the Bass Pro restaurant right outside the door, and it is really, really cool. The kids love it. They love to see the big, huge aquariums and set out on the water. So if this was their treat, we ended up with smoked fish dip and gator bites for appetizers. There was fish tacos, catfish, walleye, sliders for the little ladies, and chicken strips for the older. Everybody was very happy. And as you can see, the restaurant's pretty much empty. We were there a little bit before closing. There was us and one other table, and we ended up walking out with like 4 minutes left before they closed, which meant it was extra quiet and we had the majority of the place to ourselves. For the entire trip, our food budget was $325, and $140 of that went to this meal alone. So as you can see, the stuff we had at home actually didn't add up to very much at all. Now, for those staying at Paradise Point, they also offer a mini golf course right on property. So we checked it out, and that's where we found that cute little guy. It was really, really quiet. We were one of the only 2 families out there for the evening, so it made it really, really nice. Now, the next afternoon, we headed off for our favorite place to stop of all time for the crew, which is Fun Mountain at Big Cedar. They have all sorts of activities for the kids, from arcade to rock wall to climbing and bowling and everything in between. But they also have a restaurant right beside the play area where parents can sit and enjoy some snacks while the kids play, and the kids can come over and eat and then go back to play. So we grabbed some appetizers there, and that was the extent of our dining out while we were gone. Now, just because we don't like to spend a lot of money at restaurants while we're gone on vacation doesn't mean we don't like to eat amazing food. So this meal specifically is one of the splurges, one of the favorites. We're eating some beautiful prime ribeyes with some grilled asparagus on top. The ribeyes, again, we purchased with our freezer beef, so those came in at $6 per pound, including processing, packaging, and the animal. That is way cheaper than you can purchase any steak at any restaurant. This specific butcher actually supplies many awesome, huge restaurants, and I can tell you the price tag at those restaurants is nowhere close to what we were able to get it for here when we were butchering the whole cow and bringing it with us on this trip. So the grills are available at the resort, here at the Cliffs, at Big Cedar, anywhere that you're staying on these Blue Green properties, there's always a grill you can find. So we went ahead and grilled off some steaks as well as the asparagus. And the grills were right out by the water as well as neighboring the pool. So we were able to have one parent guarding the grill and another with the eye on the kids, which made it really, really fun and a nice night to have that grill going on and the smell of those steaks just lofting over toward the pool. Now, I do want to shout out one thing that we made at home that you haven't seen yet, and that is the French toast casserole. When I was packing the cooler, I did not get it out right away because I wanted it to stay cold in the Ziploc in the refrigerator until we were ready to go, and I totally, completely forgot it. So we did not get to enjoy that, but I did go ahead and slice up and bring 2 loaves of bread. So we used that for toast along with leftovers, plus we had bagels and cream cheese, and we were able to get our breakfast done with all of that. So don't be me, don't forget something that you really had planned and waited for. The remaining meals that we ate while we were gone, we used the leftovers from the various meals you've seen us put together here today. Hopefully, I've given you a little bit of inspiration on how to spend less time and money on food on your next vacation so you can spend more time on experiences. If you found this helpful, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you back soon for more Pantry to Plate.